Maureen McGovern recorded a hit song, The Morning After, from the Poseidon Adventure, filmed in 1972. The first two lines of that song are, "There's got to be a morning after, if we can hold on through the night." In the movie, the ship capsizes and the survivors have to reinvent their lives, sometimes without the ones they had built their world around. The morning after the resurrection of Jesus, disciples had to rebuild their lives as well. Jesus had been their everyday teacher and leader. They had left everything to follow him, and now he's no longer a part of their daily lives. He'd not left them with instructions, no direction at all. According to John's Gospel, they went back home and returned to fishing. Jesus came to them at the lake and reinstated Peter, telling him that he would die a martyr's death. It wasn't until 40 days after the resurrection, just before Pentecost, that Jesus finally prophesied their future. Luke records it like this. Then they gathered around him and asked him, "Lord, are you at this time going to restore the kingdom to Israel?" He said to them, "It's not for you to know times or dates the Father has set by his own authority, but you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes on you, and you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem and all Judea and Samaria and the ends of the earth." After he'd said this, he was taken up before their very eyes, and a cloud hid him from their sight. That's in Acts chapter 1, verses 6 through 9. The instructions are to wait until the Holy Spirit comes on them. But in the meantime, they elect a replacement for Judas, because after all, there has to be 12. It had to be done. It seems as though the Apostle Paul was actually God's choice, but he didn't fit their criteria. In fact, he opposed Jesus, and he wasn't part of their group. When the Holy Spirit did come on them, he finally began to give direction. Not to the group, but to individuals who were then acknowledged by the group. All of this happened 50 days after Passover, which is Pentecost. Well, today we find ourselves in a holding pattern as well. Experts don't really understand this virus yet, and media and politicians continue to say more than they know, still fighting to make the other side look bad, making us pawns to be manipulated for their purpose. So what are we to do when instructions are contradictory and sparse? Well, Peter gave this instruction. Submit yourselves then for the Lord's sake to every human authority, whether to the emperor, who was Nero by the way, as the supreme authority, or to governors who are sent by them to punish those who do wrong and to commend those who do right. That's in 1 Peter chapter 3, verses 13 through 14. Then there are instructions from the faith chapter of Hebrews after they have gone through all of these faith-filled people of their history. Chapter 12 begins this way, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and the perfecter of faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Consider him who endured such opposition from sinners, so that you will not grow weary and lose heart." That's Hebrews chapter 12, the first 3 verses. All of this will pass. The experts will figure out what happened, and the media and politicians We'll fault decision makers for not having clairvoyance. You know, business as usual. But we don't have to be sucked into the drama. We can learn from those who have gone before and walk in faith and confidence. God is in control. Have an awesome day. Bye-bye.